Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. It's episode 335, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. I'm Zachy Hassan. I'm here with Brian Hall.
Hey, how's it going, Zachy?
Oh, it's going. January's just about closing up. February's almost upon us.
Wild. Yeah, first month, check, of 2026. Crazy.
But we have been diligent about hopping on mic, so I feel like you and I have spent no time apart at all.
Yeah, and it's been great. And even more time on mic than usual with our bonus episodes we've been putting over on Patreon.
If you don't think we could spend an hour talking about the Masters of the Universe movie that's coming up, think again.
I can't remember if that was a comment that I saw or if someone in my personal life texted me. They're probably hearing this and going, yeah, it was me, Brian, hello. But it was like, oh, I saw you drop something about Masters of the Universe and it was an hour long. And I was like, surely they couldn't talk about that trailer for an entire hour. And we did.
We could have talked about it for 2 more hours.
Yep. And I think we had like 5 minutes of Maul Shadowland.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
Shadow Lord.
Shadow Lord. Yeah. So if you're interested in hearing all that goodness, jump over to the Patreon. But what else have you seen recently?
It's been kind of busy, and so not as much. Well, and then we're going to talk about Wonder Man in just a bit, and that's taken a couple nights, being episodic. But movie-wise, I watched. Well, you know what? Actually, I will talk very briefly. I have started the audiobook for Wuthering Heights.
Ah, okay.
Which is, many people probably know, is a movie that will be coming out, I want to say Valentine's Day or somewhere around there. It's starring Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. And the reason being, I've been seeing this trailer and I'm somewhere in the middle of finding it artistically interesting and also repulsive. Where it's like people like fingering fish mouths and, all sorts of weirdness. But so I was like, if I catch it, I do. If I don't, I don't. But anyway, my couple friends and I have started this book club, which reminds me, quick tangent. Maddie Feck, who I know listens, he recommended many months ago that I read the book The Dog Stars. And I want to tell him, I'm hijacking this moment to tell him personally, I read it, I really enjoyed it, and I promise I'll talk about it more soon in a future episode. But that book is being adapted into a movie by Ridley Scott that was supposed to come out this March, but it got kicked back to later in the year. But Maddie, I read it, and thank you for the recommendation. I really enjoyed it. But so this book club, we try to shake it up and read things that aren't super, super long so we can, honor each other's time and even find the time to talk about, what we've read. Basically, we started with this self-help book that one of the people was already in the middle of called Atomic Habits, which was really good. And actually, I was pleased to see that most of it was stuff I already do. It was a lot about list making and goals and, getting your mind tuned to that sort of thing, which was great. And then I recommended Catcher in the Rye because I thought it was a quick enough read that it wouldn't burden anybody. And also, I'm kind of fascinated to go back to the books I read in high school, to either because I didn't actually read them when I was in high school and I'm kind of curious, why is this a classic? Or I did have a feeling on it and I'm curious how I'll feel, later in life. And Catcher in the Rye was interesting, actually, but I won't get into that. Anyway, the next book that someone suggested was, well, let's do Wuthering Heights, and then we can go see the movie when it comes out. And so right now, just the way life has been, it's been easier for me to do the audiobook. I've actually been in the car a lot doing these long drives, and it's been perfect because then I've been able to listen to a lot of the book. And have you ever read Wuthering Heights?
Oh, yeah, high school.
Okay, yeah. So I never did. It was never assigned even. But it's been interesting because I went from on the movie to one of the new trailers came out and I was like, there's the name etched in glass on the window. I know that, So I can't say I'm like loving the book necessarily, but I have been engaged by it.
Okay.
And I have a long drive coming up this Friday, so I actually thought, oh, great, I'll get to listen to more of the book. So, yeah, maybe I'll mention more about that once I finish it, and then I'm sure I will have thoughts on the movie when that comes out eventually.
So this is Margot Robbie is Kathy,
Yes.
and Jacob Elordi is Heathcliff.
Yep.
Okay. See, I saw the movie, like the Laurence Olivier movie, way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Don't remember much about it, but yeah, I would say I mean I read it as, I'm guessing, a sophomore in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't really my speed back then.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. So haven't been moved to revisit it, but I am curious about the movie.
Yeah. Did you watch Saltburn, which was the other movie? Okay, yeah, by the same filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't either, because it almost felt like annoyingly provocative for me personally, where it's like a filmmaker's like, you won't believe what I do in this movie. And I that was what I was getting from it, whether or not that was actually the case, or that's just what I was getting from the think pieces I was reading online. And so I was sort of like, whatever, like, knock yourself out, but so I don't know that I have an opinion on this filmmaker, and I'm kind of curious to see then what I imagine will be. I've heard that this isn't necessarily an adaptation, more an interpretation of the book. So yeah, I'm curious.
I mean, what does that even mean? Like,
well, the title itself, I don't know if you noticed, is in quotes. So
okay, so yeah. Is it ironic?
You know what? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out in about half a month.
I think it would be funny if everyone in the movie, when they refer to the title, they should say it like it's in quotes.
Like Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
Well, this weekend I went and saw Wuthering Heights.
Yeah, exactly. Like that. Like in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's that.
Yeah. I'll throw that out there. Well, I saw two things that I think are worth talking about. First up, I watched The Rip.
Yes. Yeah. I want to see this.
Okay. It's on Netflix, directed by
Joe Carnahan.
Yep. Joe Carnahan, co-written by Joe Carnahan, and it stars, notably, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. And I read in an interview with Matt Damon that he was saying he was watching the Beatles Get Back documentary.
Okay.
Right. And as he was watching it and seeing, knowing that this was one of the last things the Beatles would do together, and just how tight they had been and that they would never work again, he just started crying. And one of his kids was like, "Dad, why are you crying?" And he just thought, why do I put so much thought into the things that Ben and I do together? Like, why is it so considered? Like, screw it. He's like my best friend, and I want to work with him, and I don't want there ever to be like, oh, this is the last thing, and why didn't we do something else? And so I think this is one of the fruits of that feeling he had. And
by the way, I'd just like to say, I'd like to think that that's the mentality behind when you and I do like She's All That as a commentary or something. It's like, hey man, why are we being precious about this?
Like Lennon and McCartney, like who knows what else they could have done? Like we really, really should cover She's All That. That's
it's the same energy.
I love it. Yeah.
And so just so we're clear, I am putting us on the same plane as not only Affleck and Damon, but also Lennon and McCartney by virtue of
Hall and Hassan.
Yeah, we're in the same breath.
Yes.
It's a trilogy right there.
Exactly.
Anyway, proceed.
So the plot is something that immediately appealed to me. This is from IMDb. A group of Miami cops discover a stash of millions in cash, leading to distrust as outsiders learn about the huge seizure, making them question who to rely on. So basically, these cops come across this huge stash of money. And then, of course, the temptation is, what if we took some of it? And I mean, if you were to present that to your people, who could you trust? Who would be in? Who would be out? Should you exclude someone? And as this movie goes along, I think what it does really well is you're just not sure who to trust or who can trust one another as things unfold. And that is really fun. That's a fun plot. And I would say the movie is pretty good.
Mhm.
Honestly, when Netflix started making their own movies, this is the bar I expected them to meet.
Okay, so
Right.
they've met the bar.
I think so. I think this is a good movie on Netflix.
Okay.
And that sounds really, I realize how that sounds, but I really mean it. Like, I think it isn't remarkable necessarily. It isn't like Heat or something,
Mhm.
but it's a good premise. It kept me on my toes. It's a little bland looking, honestly, but it's well acted. And, you might not think about it or go back and revisit it a lot, but it really did the trick in the moment. And I just felt like, oh, this was the promise of original movies on Netflix. Something like this, where if I picked this on a Friday night, I wouldn't be disappointed that I picked it.
Okay.
It's a good streaming pick. And
Okay.
so I recommend it. I think if that premise sounds interesting and you like seeing Affleck and Damon together, I didn't know where it was heading and I enjoyed it. I wish it had been a little more visually dynamic and interesting and, whatever, but like, not bad.
Yeah. Joe Carnahan's an interesting cat, man, because he really came out like a cannonball out with Narc, right? That was really and I feel like that movie didn't get the kind of play I would have hoped for, people who saw it liked it, but I don't know that a lot of people saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But then he did in 2010 the A-Team,
That's right.
and that was fan-freaking-tastic.
That was a fun one. That was a fun. Both those movies I think of as like you, me, and Sean movies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Narc, wasn't that where Tom Cruise saw that and was like, that guy should do the next Mission Impossible? And Carnahan did work on a Mission Impossible film for a really long time.
Yeah, I remember.
Until I think eventually, is that the one that went to J.J. Abrams eventually?
That was the J.J. Abrams one. Yeah, it was going to be ScarJo and Carrie-Anne Moss and.
Wow. Oh man, don't you wish you could visit other timelines sometimes for entertainment? Just
these days, constantly.
Yeah, go watch the Eric Stoltz Back to the Future and the Carrie-Anne Moss.
These days, I want to visit the timeline where Mark Burnett decided not to make The Apprentice.
Yeah, right.
That's the timeline.
Inflection point. Where do we need to like?
I'm really fixated on that Earth 6173, whatever that is.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, I don't know if this is going to translate as funny as this little short was, but I saw this on Instagram last night where it was this guy is in a park throwing a Frisbee with his dog. And all of a sudden this person appears who's a time traveler. And he's like, woo, like I just killed Joe Schlibbens, the greatest dictator in 1940s Germany of all time. And the guy's like, what? And he's like, oh yeah, man, he killed like a couple hundred people. It had to be done. And the guy's like, I think you might have, in doing that, created a vacuum that put a worse person in there. Killed a lot more people. But I'm doing the most clinical description of this. It's not as funny. But like the acting was really funny. The premise was hilarious. And then the guy realizing, oh shoot, like by doing that, I might have created something worse.
That's the problem. You just never know, right?
Yeah.
While we're talking about time travel, I saw this thing on social. I sent this to you where somebody's like, if I could travel back in time, for one time, what I would do is go back to 1992. And well, let me. I want to give credit where it's due. This is I hate Matt Drufke on Threads. He says if I could only use a time machine one time, I would travel back to 1992, go visit the cast of the final season of Growing Pains, and announce that I am from the future. I would then say I am from 2026, and I can tell you that one of you will be nominated for 7 Oscars. Then look at Kirk Cameron's dumb face because he would be positive I was talking about him.
Right. Which you sent that to me, and it took me a couple seconds because I was like, "What? Oh, DiCaprio,
Leonardo DiCaprio,
yeah,
the cousin Oliver of Growing Pains."
You just took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say he was like one of those late season additions that usually is kind of an annoying younger character that like when the show is on its last legs. And who knew he would go on to be one of his generation.
Future greatest living actor, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
And it was not, in fact, Kirk Cameron, he of Kirk Cameron Saves Christmas.
Right. Or remember Father Like Son?
I do remember that. That was with Dudley Moore, right?
Yeah.
Because there was a couple like that same year. There was a bunch of those body swap movies.
Yeah, I can picture another one too. I can see the poster, but I can't think of the
Vice
title.
Versa.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, I don't know who was in that though.
Yeah, the whole body swap thing.
And then Big was, I think, that same year or right around then.
Mm-hmm. Man, it was really in the air, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the rip.
Next, I'll talk about this. This is going to be a little complicated one, but I saw 28 years later, The Bone Temple.
Yes.
Which we did a review of the previous, what was it? Was it just called 28 Years Later?
Yes, you did. I didn't.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Which, is another film in the series, the 28 days later, 28 weeks later, then 28 years later series. And so I got to say, my friend Chad and I, we went and saw the last one, and it was a little grim and gross, but it was very well done. It was made by Danny Boyle, and there was a interesting story there. It's just a lot of grisly things, taking place in that world, which make it, a little tough to stomach, but very well done. Anyway, so then the trailer for this came out, and I was like, man, this looks grim. And
I think the rest of the audience had the same reaction.
Well, yeah, this movie did not perform very well. And I wonder if that is a little part of it. We were talking about that, Chad and I, because even the poster itself is just very upsetting. Yeah. It's Ralph Fiennes. I won't explain what's going on in it because it's strangely a little bit of a spoiler, but it's just upsetting. So it's not like something on a Friday night if you're just looking at the poster or the tile or whatever, where you're like, oh, I made some popcorn. What's this? And so we were more seeing it a bit out of obligation because it was a direct sequel to the last movie. The last movie had a very, it was a cliffhanger. It was a cliffhanger ending. And so I was curious where this was going. And it was a wacky cliffhanger. And I would say I have complicated feelings about this movie. Is it good? Yes. Is it well done? Yes. Did it make me feel everything it wanted me to feel? Absolutely. And it is remarkably acted. Ralph Fiennes and what's that guy's name? He was in Sinners. Jack O'Connell, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
He plays the main villain in this, and he is really good. And yet, and this is an especially subjective take here, this was just too gross for me.
Okay.
I've been wading a little bit deeper into horror lately.
Yeah.
And you and I both, and we've seen some really great stuff that I feel like the horror has served a purpose, and it's, they've been really great stories, and these movies have had something to say. And I'd argue this movie has something to say also. But man, I was just way too repulsed. During this movie, really, really aggressively gross things happening in this movie, and disturbing and upsetting things, characters just torturing innocent people. And I'm not talking and then they do something and the camera moves away. No, it stays like hostile level stuff, and just suffering and horror and despair. And I was like, I think this is my limit. I was looking away more than I have in any movie in a long time. And my friend, who's a horror aficionado, he walked out saying, he's like, I feel kind of sick. I just feel off. I don't feel good right now. And I was like, yeah, me too. And so, but I saw I want to say it's got 90 something % on Rotten Tomatoes. I listened to another podcast where these people were raving about it. And I was like, I get it. I see it. I really do. The performances are great. I do think it is trying to say something. And there are some very strong moments and powerful things that happen in here, especially with Ralph Fiennes' character and this relationship he develops. It's hard to not spoil this stuff, but he may have a breakthrough with what is affecting these quote unquote zombies in this movie. And I found that very moving and fascinating. And that was my favorite part of this story. But we just spend a lot of time with these characters who just torture people. And it was too much. It was too much for me. So I can recognize and say that if this isn't too much for you and you enjoy this series, I think you will probably enjoy this one if you enjoyed, the last one. But for me, I was like, oh, kind of glad I got it over with. And I don't know that I would go back, actually.
Wow, okay.
I might need like a severe break.
Now this is meant to this is a direct continuation of the previous one?
Yes, like immediately direct. Yes.
Okay. So but there is supposed to be one more. Isn't it supposed to be a trilogy?
Well, here's the thing. Yes. So Alex Garland, he wrote a trilogy.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then they shot the first two back to back, and Nia DaCosta, I should say, directed this, who directed the Marvels, and she does an excellent job. I mean, this is a really well-made movie. That's why I say this is very subjective, because I can recognize the craft, and there's a lot of moments I'd be like, oh, I really like that moment. I really like that moment. But I just walked out not feeling good.
Yeah.
Just personally. And that's something I have to, that's what I'm going to bring in my review, is just people who know me and kind of know my limits. That was where I ended up walking out with it. But I should, yes, what you're talking about, there is a third one that was written, but I don't think it's been shot. And based on the performance of this one, I don't know if it'll get made.
May not be. Yeah.
Yeah. And this one ends, I wouldn't call it a cliffhanger, but you could end it here and go, well, I'll be, kind of a thing. But I am a little curious where it goes from here also. So maybe I could watch this one knowing I'm going to cover my face for half of it if they do another one. If they wind up making one, I don't know. But so anyway, that's my that's Brian Hall's personal take on the Bone Temple.
Okay.
So how about yourself? You watch anything disgusting that haunted your dreams for the next couple of days?
Thankfully not in theaters or on screen. I was thinking just with what you're describing, a similar conversation we had, albeit different, was about The Running Man.
Yes.
A few months ago. And I think a point that I made is, maybe people just aren't in the mood for something that's so dour that it doesn't feel like escapism.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. And I think that partly explains why that movie underperformed, and I think maybe something similar can be said about this,
Yep. Wait, what was number one this weekend? It was that Mercy movie, the Chris Pratt thing.
Yeah.
I was trying to think if it was something like a little more positive.
And that's that too. That's like a Screen Life thing about AI and stuff. And
yeah, which isn't it from what's that guy's name? Timur
Bekmambetov.
I know.
Timur Bekmambetov.
Yes, and he's been behind all the other Screen Life movies, right? With John Cho and which I liked, actually. I thought those were surprisingly well done and gripping.
He produced that War of the Worlds one.
Oh no. Okay. Well, maybe. Well, okay. But I remember those movies didn't feel like a hackneyed gimmick. They actually found a really brilliant way to use that conceit and tell a story in a way you could only do through that conceit. And I found both of those movies, first one more so. What was it called? It was like Missing and something.
Searching?
Searching, yeah. Those are really good, actually.
Yeah.
So,
What a weird filmography, right? He does Wanted, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter,
which I love.
Ben-Hur remake.
That is wild.
It's quite the pivot,
Wow. I forgot that there was a Ben-Hur remake.
Now do Ben-Hur as a Screen Life movie. You got my money.
Yes.
You got my money. You crack that nut.
Wait, so that would be, I don't know how, but in ancient times he would have like his phone. But you know how there's this thing on Reddit called praise the cameraman and kill the cameraman? because, people take these, like a car doing some crazy move on ice, but they don't hold the phone well enough so you can actually see the action. So, the famous thing in Ben-Hur, right, is that he encounters Jesus, but it never shows his face.
Yeah.
So in the Screen Life movie, it'd be like, oh, like he didn't raise the camera high enough to get Jesus' face.
See, I picture that. Broop, did you hear? This guy's the Son of God, and then broop, LOL, what?
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing. So as he's like, whoa, dude, this is actually Jesus. It's like, wait, the camera, raise the camera. Hello. And then angry emoji, angry emoji, angry emoji.
Yeah.
And then hashtag kill the cameraman,
The chariot sequence would be bananas.
Yes. With GoPros,
Yeah. Anywho, what I have seen recently, worth mentioning, in addition to Wonder Man, which we'll talk about in just a minute, is Starfleet Academy, the new Star Trek television series.
Oh, there's been this whole group of Star Trek stuff that's come out, and I haven't seen any of it. So I am always interested to hear what you have to say about it, because I enjoy the films, but I never really dig into the shows.
Yeah, well, it's a lot. This is the 12th Star Trek series.
Wow.
Right. It's sort of like we're at the point where it's so much for the inside group. You know what I mean? It's like just the other day, I got a press release for NCIS Tony and Ziva is coming to digital, and I'm not having watched any NCIS. I'm like, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay, sure.
But like, again, for the inside group, it's like, hey man, Tony and Ziva, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, together at last,
together again, or whatever. I think I said something similar. Like there's this other NCIS show called Origins, and it's about the young Mark Harmon, like the Mark Harmon character in his younger days.
Okay.
So it's sort of like the Kelvin timeline version of NCIS.
Yeah. Or I don't know why I thought of this first, but when they wanted to make the John McClane series.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, they had a promo where it's like, this episode, for the first time, Gibbs meets Ducky. And I'm like, that sentence, it has words and a sequence. Right. It means something. It doesn't mean anything to me. So I Googled it, and, Ducky, that's the character that David McCallum played on the original show, and he just passed away recently. And I'm like, that means a lot to, like, that fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm not dogging on it. Like, I'm just like, as somebody who has not watched NCIS, I'm like, it's amazing that they're able to keep going with all this stuff,
Yeah.
So Star Trek is definitely in that range now, but of course the difference is that I would imagine that NCIS fans are mostly, I'm going to say, white men age 50 and up.
Okay.
And they just kind of take what they get and whatever,
Sure.
In between grilling, they're watching
in between grilling and Bosch.
Yeah. They're watching Mark Harmon and or Scott Bakula and or Chris O'Donnell and Ice. No, not
LL Cool J.
Not LL Cool J. Sorry. Solve crimes. That's the gist of it. Star Trek fans, on the other hand, we know Star Trek fans. They're zen, peaceful, sanguine types. I'm just kidding. They're the actual literal worst.
Really?
Oh my god!
Just like every other fan base, basically, or at least
I don't know who's
vocal.
Worse. Yeah, I don't know if Star Wars fans or Star Trek fans are worse. I would say they're all pretty terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this series is set in the 33rd century or some stuff. So it's like 1,000 years after the original show.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And it stars Holly Hunter as the chancellor of Starfleet Academy, right? And I'm like Holly Hunter in a Star Trek. Sign me up, right? That I'll watch that. And she's delightful. She's terrific.
Yeah.
Paul Giamatti plays a recurring baddie. He's having fun. Paul Giamatti as Paul Giamatti with like weird boner makeup on his head, but
okay.
It's just Paul Giamatti.
I love Paul Giamatti, by the way.
That's what I'm saying.
Rewatched The Holdovers recently, and he is a treasure.
He really is.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of some variation of his pig vomit character from Private Parts.
Okay, interesting.
Doing his thing. I love it.
Yeah.
So the show, it's totally fine. I like it for what it is. It's sort of like Holly Hunter is tasked with rebuilding Starfleet Academy after it has been abandoned for 100 years. I'm like, that's a cool premise for a
Totally.
show, it's just doing his thing. You get familiar faces, you get new stuff. It's doing the Star Trek thing. To me, the most important thing always, does it uphold sort of the central morality of Star Trek,
Mm-hmm.
which is centered around kind of a certain kind of selflessness.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does that, and I've seen 6 of the first 10 episodes, and I've enjoyed it thus far. More interesting to me, however, is of course the Discourse, capital D Discourse,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is just, it has no bearing on anything because this show is getting review bombed, for whatever reason, and that's just become the usual thing, right? Because right now, so you have the current Star Trek television shows are being produced by Alex Kurtzman, who co-wrote the first 2 J.J. Abrams movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, Alex Kurtzman Star Trek. It's not real Star Trek. The real Star Trek is all the shows that they made, from Next Generation, from like 1987 until 2005, and all those shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see this online, and I'm like, this is one of the benefits of having lived somewhat of a long life, is you get to say, no, I remember this. I've lived long enough to see people say Star Trek The Next Generation is not real Star Trek, or
Right.
Star Trek Deep Space Nine is not real Star Trek, and Star Trek Voyager is not real Star Trek, and the Enterprise series is not real Star Trek. Oh, and then the 3 Kelvin timeline movies, certainly those are not real Star Trek. And then all of these shows.
Yep.
So now, oh no, that's the real stuff. So I'm like, all of this has happened before, it'll happen again. And I'm not saying that the quality isn't variable or whatever. I am saying, how about you just like let people enjoy stuff in a different way than you do,
Mm-hmm.
or did. And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What this is making me think is, and I've been thinking about this with, Star Wars, and probably the original time I thought about this was with The Simpsons, but has the things we grew up with have never gone away.
Right.
Has that ever happened before? I mean, really, like the stuff that our parents watched, and by the way, like their just environment and the way they grew up, and they didn't have social media or places to gripe about this stuff. They had probably more real world concerns going on.
Yeah.
Instead of just living online and making mountains out of molehill hills there. But this must be maybe one of the first times this has really happened, because something that existed, well, in Star Trek's case, many, many years ago, but like it's just never gone away.
This is the 60th year of Star Trek.
Yeah, so it's impossible for anything to be real anything anymore, because the people who created the quote unquote real thing aren't doing it. Like the only way it can exist is to put it in the hands of other people.
Yeah, all of these franchises that have lasted this long are some variation of the ship of Theseus.
Exactly. Right. And by the way, I'm guilty, because I used to complain about The Simpsons a lot and say that, it's gone downhill and it's not my Simpsons and all that sort of thing. And I still have seasons that I don't connect with, but I've over time realized, well, it's like, well, of course it isn't the thing that I know and love, because it's not the same people. It's like those people are gone and now it's in new hands. And that's what happens when something lasts that long. That's inevitable.
Right.
Right.
Well, and again, it's like I mean, for anyone, our longtime listeners are like, oh God, here they go again. But,
yeah, probably.
But again, it's like let's set arbitrarily, the 11th season of The Simpsons is like where it stopped being good. I just for the sake of this discussion.
Sure.
Okay, let's say that's the case. That's still 11 seasons, bro.
Yeah.
Like you're good. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's just the longer this stuff goes on, man. I mean, it's like I stopped collecting comics a while ago, reading new stuff, but I got hundreds of issues of the old stuff if I ever want to revisit it,
Right.
And so a lot of these fan bases, I think they just got to figure that out. Where it's like, look, if you want the thing you liked, if you want to have that experience, that thing that you liked is there for you.
Right.
If you want to feel exactly the same way, that's what's there. Nothing else is going to make you feel that way.
Right.
And you talked about Star Wars. I mean, look, I certainly remember when they announced the character of Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
Fans were having a shit fit over that.
Oh.
What? Anakin had a Padawan? What kind of bullshit is this? Right? And that was a George Lucas thing. And what we've learned about George Lucas is he doesn't take this stuff as seriously as the fans did.
Right.
In our bonus show last time, we were talking about Darth Maul, how he told the Clone Wars people, "Hey, why don't you just bring back Darth Maul?" And they're like, ugh. Because they had spent time building up this other character who was kind of a Darth Maul,
right?
Substitute. And anyway, these characters have become precious in their own way, and that's just it. I remember the Star Trek Voyager. That was the first series with a female captain, and that was 1995. I remember the fan conversations back then. And this is pre-social media. This is like Usenet era.
Right.
And again, to hear them now, oh my, it's the most precious thing in the world.
Right.
And a lot of this is those people realizing that, oh, they should give the show a chance. It's also, well, here's a show that's 30 years old. So there's entire generations that have discovered it and approach it in a different way.
And also, I would like to say, I'm not saying that then you have to like everything.
No, that's,
I'm like there's things you're going to like and there are things you're not going to like, but I think it's just important to have perspective.
What I'm saying is it's okay to not like something.
Yeah.
And let other people like it.
Exactly.
And that's okay.
And then something may come along next that is for you, that you enjoy more or connect with.
And I've said it before, the test case is going to be these Star Wars sequels, which I'm very curious about. What do the next, we're already 10 years past The Force Awakens.
Wild.
What do the next 10 years bring? It's crazy because those 10 years between Revenge of the Sith and The Force Awakens, and it feels like that was longer than this past 10 years.
Am I wrong? It does.
Right?
Well, I guess there weren't as many. There were some shows, but not as many.
Yeah,
not as much output as they've had in the last 10 years. But I'm like thirsting for it. I feel like I haven't had it in a while, and I am just thirsty for Star Wars. Actually, just this past week, I watched Empire of Dreams on Disney Plus, which is a 2-hour plus making of the original trilogy, just because I was like, I'm just hungry for Star Wars.
That was on the DVD release, as I recall.
Right? That's right.
Yeah. That was a great documentary.
Very good. I highly recommend it.
Very good. Yeah. Anyway, so Starfleet Academy, that is on Paramount Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Holly Hunter is delightful as the captain. I watched the first few episodes, and I see that, she walks down the hallways barefoot.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, that's going to become a thing.
Right.
And then she sits in the captain's chair, almost like a lounging cat.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, that's going to be a thing. So,
right.
And then wouldn't you know,
Yeah.
I think these fans, the only way they'll be happy is if we get the episode where Holly Hunter's captain character meets Ducky for the first time. That's what I'm
crossover we've all been waiting for.
That's what I want. I don't know who Ducky is, damn it, but he sounds like an important dude. Hey, we got some listener letters, Brian.
Mail call!
I believe you have a letter for me.
18,000 letters, all addressed to Santa Claus.
You've got mail. Here's a note we got from Luke's Mail 24 on YouTube, and this was in response to our last episode, where, if you remember, we were talking about how different generations remember different actors in different ways, and it's kind of pivoting off of what we were just talking about. It says, thanks for responding to my question regarding a gap in the generation divide when it comes to looking back and checking out movie classics. In regards to playing it cool, when someone says they haven't seen that movie or heard that line, etc., I do have to confess there was one time when I was younger that I did lose it with somebody. Back in 2005, following the release of Revenge of the Sith, I was speaking to a 19-year-old who had just seen the movie, and he remarked to me that I really enjoyed the movie and can't wait until they start making the fourth one.
Oh, okay.
And no, they weren't joking.
Right.
I just looked at him, and all I could say was, "You really need to get home and rethink things." Ouch. Ouch. That was the one time I lost it in regards to someone not being a movie geek like me. In regards to Galaxy's Edge shifting time periods every few months, and this is we mentioned how Galaxy's Edge, which is the Disney park installation, has been set in the post, I don't even know, it's like in the sequel era.
Right?
Yeah. So now they're shifting it back to the original trilogy era. He says, I think that's a great idea. I can't wait for the Star Wars holiday special period.
I wonder around the holidays.
I'll fly over from Australia just to see who's wandering around Batu dressed as Harvey Korman and B. Arthur. Being born in 1981, it's really hard to explain to the younglings just how special Star Wars was to us. Hell, I was named after a character in it.
Huh?
So I never had a chance of avoiding it. I think part of the problem with where the franchise is at now is people want to feel the way they did back when they were kids, and sadly that time can never come again. Wow, man. Luke is a smart guy.
Right.
He's a damn genius, I'll tell you. That is not to say mistakes have not been made. My joy now is seeing how my son responds to it, even if it costs me a fortune. I can relate to that. That's how I find my love of it now. And my question really is to Brian to ask, and I'm not sure how much you can say with this. What is it like to write on a franchise you grew up with? Plus, how tight are the restrictions working on it? Keep up the great work, and how long till we hear Filoni and Brennan ruin the franchise? Oh, we're going to hear that in like 12 days.
Right.
But please.
It's funny. I'm going to answer that, but what he said reminded me of, younger audiences and the things that they connect with, and someone being young enough to not even know that there is an episode 4 of Star Wars. When I was watching Bone Temple, there was a trailer for the new Hunger Games movie. And my friend and I were like, we just weren't feeling it. Like the originals are okay, but they don't mean a lot to me. I was a little bit older. And these two guys who were next to me. So when it ended, I was sort of like, man, it just feels like the last one. And then I heard those guys like, I can't wait. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like I've just kind of not my deal, but that's the franchise. They were young and they keep making them and they're excited about it.
No, you're doing it wrong. You should have turned around and been like, what are you talking about? It looks exactly the same. How much of this do we need? What is this? What are you doing here?
I got 2 words for you. Battle Royale.
Yeah.
But it really heartened me. I was like, oh, I love it. They have the thing that's special to them, and that I don't connect with. And then the Disclosure Day trailer played.
Okay.
And the upcoming Steven Spielberg movie, and I am intrigued. I have a lot of, I'm curious about the movie. I can't say everything about it like connects with me, but I am intrigued for an original story from Steven Spielberg, a new movie from Steven Spielberg. And then I actually started to wonder, how's this playing for those guys? Like those younger guys? Does this feel like, coming, Space Cowboys from Clint Eastwood, like when that was like, the older dudes movie when I was younger?
Or does it play like Megalopolis from
That's that's good too. And so I did kind of wonder, I was like, is this to them like, oh, okay. Oh, Steven yeah, he's like old, right? I was curious. And I was lucky enough they actually responded out loud. And when it ended, one of them went, I don't know. And then the other guy goes, yeah, but dude, it's Steven Spielberg. And dude, I was like, oh, my heart just burst. I was like, oh.
I picture Brian like sitting in front and you're like nodding like Miyagi at the end of Karate Kid.
Yes. We send that gift back and forth to each other sometimes. So yes, exactly. And I was just like, the kids are all right. So anyway, I had to share that moment because that reminded me of that. Speaking about writing for a franchise that is like beloved, ever since I was in the first grade. It's fascinating, frankly, because you're let into this world, something that felt like a galaxy far, far away. Like suddenly you're in the Lucasfilm offices and you are interacting with the people who are now in control of this. I just feel so gross saying this IP. But then, so you go in and everybody who was involved was a fan. That's what was really exciting about it. All the other writers, the guy who created the show, we love Star Wars. So we're coming in bursting with ideas, excited about the potential of like, okay, now we're making a show about kids with lightsabers. And what if they go to this kind of planet? And what if they do this? And that was really the energy going in. And then they do a really good job of, I don't think I'm betraying anything saying this, but when we would have our story breaks, they would have a person who was an expert on Star Wars lore.
Okay.
So one example, I don't think it is a big deal to say. We were like, oh, can the kids go to Hoth? We want them on this like really cold location. Can they go to Hoth? And the lore person, who by the way was awesome, he was the coolest guy. He was just like, ooh, you know what? Actually, in the moment in time where this story is taking place, they wouldn't know about Hoth right now. And it was funny because instead of being disappointed, we were all like, ooh. Like, why? Tell us more.
Yeah.
So it was just it made you giddy. I would say the biggest struggles were just the stuff that would happen on any other show.
Okay.
Where it was just trying to get to that perfect moment and the perfect story and getting to the heart of things and character and whatever. All that was just normal stuff that happened on anything I've been on. But maybe it's just because we were such fans. Sometimes when they would put fences up, it just became fascinating. Where I was like, oh, well, why is that? Or they'd be like, oh, actually, the Force doesn't work that way. Like, oh, really? Tell me more.
Would you try to deliberately like break the brain of the lore keeper just to mess with them? Like, like in this episode, Kai is going to team up with young Han Solo and Rey to defeat, Jar Jar Binks and his partner Palpatine. Just trying to see what he says. Like steam is coming out of their ears.
Yeah. In a baseball game, they set up a baseball tournament. Yeah, just to see. Yeah, him just be like, I have to go for a walk. Step up and walk away. No, I don't know if I'm answering this well, but yeah, it was really exciting because we were all fans. Oh, I remember the first day that I literally wrote lines for Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
I think I even had Yoda say, "May the Force be with you," and I was like, "Wow!" Like I
think the first line you wrote was like, "See you on the flip side, bitches."
Yeah, exactly. See you on the flippity flop.
Yeah,
And then that very night, if you can believe it, I went to go see John Williams play at the Bowl,
man,
and he plays different songs and selections, every year. And that night he played Yoda's theme.
Wow, look at that.
And I cried. I cried.
You're part of that now,
Yeah. So, I'm not going to pretend like it wasn't challenging, but again, that stuff came from more the usual, challenges of screenwriting. But the Star Wars of it all was always really exciting and always kind of fascinating. And we always wanted to learn more it's something else. This actually goes right to the question. I think I'll speak for myself, but I know other people did this too. Sometimes I think we were like, oh, well, but we can't do that. We would say, oh, can we have the characters go, maybe they should go to this planet because we're looking for something like this. So I guess it should be this planet. And the lore person would be like, why don't you make up a planet? And we're like, we can do that. Like, I know for a minute it was like, wait, I can make up a creature. Like I can make up a planet. So that was a really mind-blowing sort of thing, making up these new characters. And for me, I had to make up a new Hutt character.
Right.
And, all this stuff is aired, so I don't think it's a big deal, but I was like, how can I make this Hutt different from all the others, Jabba and some of the other characters we've seen. And just immediately I thought, wouldn't it be fun if he had the personality of Jason Mantzoukas? like just this big boisterous, hey, but like at the drop of a hat, he could turn on you and be like, "What did you say to me?"
Mhm.
kind of thing. So even in the script, I wrote, this hut in parentheses, think Jason Mantzoukas. And then sure enough, they cast Jason Mantzoukas.
Amazing.
And so Jason Mantzoukas played this hut, and I have since seen that character has been used in other things, in books and whatever, and that
Wow.
just blows my mind.
So crazy. Well, and of course, and you've mentioned this before, but there's now a character in Star Wars canon who is named after my daughter.
That's right. We needed a princess, and so I named her Princess Anaya.
Look at that. And she too was voiced by Jason Mantzoukas.
Are you kidding me? It's my birthday.
that was just for me, that part.
Well, and then I started thinking of your boys and you, and I was like, I want to get something in there. So I named a planet. She's from the planet Hassan. It was fun, like using friends and just real life inspiration, putting it through the Star Wars filter and having that stuff now exist in that universe on Wikipedia, in other like books and things like that. So it was, it was challenging because you also do want to live up to this thing that you hold in such high regard.
Yeah.
And they do too, so it wasn't always easy for sure, but I still sometimes take a step back and can't believe I got to play in that playground. Like the last thing I'll say, because I could go for an hour, is I remember writing this one script, and there was the kids. I remember writing, the kids were on these like space horses called Dunnels, and they're chasing these outlaws, and the outlaws jump onto this moving train. So the kids jump onto a moving train. They're riding these space horses on top of a moving train, and they leap off the horses and ignite their lightsabers. And I remember after writing that down, I was like, holy crap. Like, I can't believe I get to do this.
That's
like,
so
this
cool.
is going to exist.
Yeah.
And it's just, the stuff you would imagine with your Star Wars action figures as a kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that answers it a little bit.
I think it does.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a brand new release out there, Brian.
Oh.
Why don't we talk about it on the other side of this?
And now we're pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
And we are back, and you know who else is back, Brian?
Who's that, Zyke?
Why, it's everyone's favorite, 18th favorite MCU character.
Yes.
I'm talking about Trevor Slattery.
Played by Sir Ben Kingsley, right? Sir
Ben Kingsley, who is absolutely delightful, reprising his role as the former Mandarin in the new Disney Plus series Wonder Man, which just dropped all 8 episodes of its entire season just a few days ago as we are recording this.
Mm-hmm.
And this show centers on, of course, the beloved Marvel Comics character Wonder Man. Had you heard of Wonder Man before this show?
I had not.
Okay, so then we know I was saying that ironically.
Yes.
But it's created by Destin Daniel Cretton,
mm-hmm.
who's become kind of a Marvel man about town, if I may say, because he came into the joint with Shang-Chi.
Mm-hmm.
He's directing the new Spider-Man movie.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then he squeezed this one in under the radar, really under the radar, because gosh, no one's talking about this. It feels like.
I know, And by the way, friend of the show, right?
That's right. Yeah, Destin Daniel Cretton. One of the first interviews I did and we played the audio back in 2013 for his film Short Term 12, which was just delightful. I really enjoyed that movie.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah. Starring a then unknown Brie Larson.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So Wonder Man stars Yahya Abdul-Mateen as Simon Williams, aka Wonder Man.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I gotta say, this I saw this a couple weeks back, and I was like, oh, this is something special. And I could not wait for it to get out in the world. And it's been extremely gratifying over the last few days, where people are kind of like, it's like they've discovered this special treat.
Mm-hmm.
That's been really fun to see.
Well, I mean, to sort of show my cards here, yeah, off mic, we were talking about what we should talk about this week. And, there's that new Sam Raimi movie, Send Help, but it's not coming out at just the right time for us to talk about it. I was like, oh, well, that's kind of a bummer. I mean, what can we talk about? And you were like, well, we could talk about Wonder Man. And I was only 2 episodes in and I was enjoying it. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. So I binged the rest of it last night. And then the first thought I had was, I am so glad that we are now going to be shining a light on this episode, because I want people to know that this is out there and that they're probably really going to enjoy it.
That's the thing. I mean, the Marvel enterprise is sort of wobbly at this moment,
Mm-hmm.
right? And people trying to figure out, what the movies have to offer, and there's always been this tension between should the shows factor in? Do they factor in too much? Are they not factoring in enough? Like, this is a weird thing, right? Like when Netflix was doing all those Defenders shows,
Mm-hmm.
people were like, well, how come the movies don't acknowledge these, right?
Right.
And so then Marvel fully takes over and they start doing their own TV shows, and they do WandaVision and Ms. Marvel and all this stuff, and then they make The Marvels, which is directly tied in with the TV stuff. It ties in with both WandaVision and Ms. Marvel, and that movie ends up being the biggest flop the MCU has produced.
Right.
So you can imagine Kevin Feige and folks being like, all right, what do y'all want?
Yeah.
We're getting mixed signals.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just going to say, I mean, and with speaking as a casual Marvel fan, like
Yeah.
I'm a Marvel fan, but a casual Marvel fan, I've enjoyed the TV shows, but I haven't necessarily found them essential.
Yeah.
Even WandaVision, which I really liked, but to me felt more like a fun genre exercise than an essential story or show. And maybe there were things that happened in the show that paid off in movies and whatever, but it felt like a lot of pastiches. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool. It's a cool experiment, but I can't say I feel passionate about this.
I think, in my opinion, of that early batch of Marvel shows, I think the one that was most satisfying through and through was Loki.
Definitely. I have to say, I don't feel like this has been really popular, but I did enjoy the Hawkeye show.
So Hawkeye too. I did like Hawkeye.
I liked Hawkeye, and Loki I thought was very solid.
Yeah. I think WandaVision, I do like it very much. Actually, I just recently revisited. I'm like, no, this is solid. Because that was nominated for an Emmy. When it came out, and I'm like, no, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, especially having seen Captain America: Brave New World, feels very unessential.
Mm-hmm.
Because it didn't accomplish a ton,
Right.
But regardless, all of this is to say that they haven't quite been able to figure out what, like, this tension between the TV side and the movie side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Notwithstanding, your Daredevil Born Again, which is just, that's just Disney now doing what the Netflix show did.
Right.
But it's its own little corner. And so my point is, I watched something like Wonder Man, and I'm like, this is it. This is what you guys should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me a little bit. It's completely different, but it reminds me of Werewolf by Night.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. From a couple years back, where you're like, it's a genre thing. It's not explicitly a superhero thing, but it exists within the Marvel universe. But it's just a genre experiment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was doing sort of a Universal Monsters type deal, right?
Right.
And this is doing, the studio.
Yes. And it feels you don't necessarily need the movies. I mean, It would help a little bit, but you don't necessarily need them. This thing I could tell my parents who have kind of dipped out a little bit from the Marvel stuff, you can just watch this on its own and completely enjoy it. It's satisfying as its own thing. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
And it's not even, strangely almost, there's not really a lot of superhero stuff in this.
Right.
Like this is like a buddy dramedy that I felt an awful lot for. Like I really cared about these people.
Yeah.
You know, I was just, there were moments when a little superhero-y thing would happen. I'd go, oh yeah. You know,
Yeah.
because
Oh yeah.
that's
Yeah,
just not what this, it's there. It is there. The thread is there, but that's not the big part of this. There aren't big battles happening in the sky. It's about these two kind of insecure souls,
Yeah.
you know, sort of finding one another and supporting one another and growing stronger together. And it's just a really lovely buddy story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a story of superpowered people in a superhero universe, but it's not a superhero story.
Yes. Well put. Yeah.
You know, even though they're making a superhero movie.
Right.
Yeah, it's 8 episodes, and each one is roughly a half hour, which really, it's like the perfect bite-sized amount. It's very easy
so
to
nice.
binge, right?
Yep.
Because I knocked out, you know, like 4 a day, you know, and you know, you don't. It's not, you're not committing huge chunks of your evening or your afternoon because each episode is so short, you know.
I mean, you could. I mean, it's 4 hours total, right? Like, you could do it in one night if you wanted, but yeah, I did it comfortably over 2 nights.
Exactly, right. And I loved Yahya Abdul-Mateen in this.
Me too. He's a really interesting character.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you really are rooting for him. He is an underdog, but he's not like some big, you know, doe-eyed, oh, I'm just really hope I make it kind of guy. He's a complicated character. He's in it. And what I like about that is it all feels like it makes sense because of his past.
Right.
You know, he's been through a lot. He's really been on a journey, and it makes him who he is. And sometimes he behaves in a way that I'm like really rooting for him. And sometimes I'm like, oh, Simon, you know, which I like.
Well, the opening scene of the very first episode is, to me, I'm not going to spoil it, but it calls to mind when Jon Favreau keeps making those phone calls in Swingers.
Yes. Oh, I was yelling at my TV. Like at first I was like, because you know kind of what's going down, but then there comes a point where you're like, please. Like you care about this person and you just want to help them get out of their own way. Yeah.
And I mean, that's the thing. You already care about him, you know, and it's literally the first scene. I think what's really most interesting to me, and you alluded to this, I mean, the superhero business, it is essential. Like, let's not undercut that. It is essential, but it's also incidental in terms of you're not watching this thing. And at least me, I'm not going to speak for you. At no point was I like, but how did he get these powers?
No.
And they never explain it. And this is where existing within a superhero universe helps. Because you're kind of like, okay, well, he's got powers. And you don't need the explanation.
Yep. And they're understandable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know? And then, of course, we mentioned earlier Ben Kingsley as Trevor, which is now, this is his, let's see, he was first appeared in Iron Man 3 13 years ago. He was then in a short. He was then in Shang-Chi, and now here he is in Wonder Man. And if you would have told me 13 years ago when Iron Man 3 came out, I remember being extremely irked by the little switcheroo that they did where they're like, oh, the Mandarin is actually this washed up British actor. If you'd have told me, oh no, but in 13 years you'll still be watching this guy, and boy, will you be invested in this guy's journey, you know?
Yeah, his best turn as this character is still yet to come. Like,
yeah, exactly.
He's been enjoyable. I remember he was enjoyable in Shang-Chi.
That's right.
But this, I kept thinking like, man, I love Ben Kingsley. Like he is, he gets to do so much. He gets to be sort of a mentor figure. He gets to also be kind of a screw up. You know, he gets to do some comedy. He really gets to. It's a showcase for him, and it's the two of them together is just so damn delightful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, have we even said what the premise is?
Yeah, I guess we haven't, right? We'll go for it.
Well, basically, Simon is this actor. This is what I love too. There's just so much like heart to this. So basically, I think the first scene is a flashback. Each show begins with a flashback, and we see Simon as a boy watching a movie called Wonder Man in the theater with his dad. So we know that the character. Okay, actually, if you could explain this to me.
Yeah.
How does this work in the comic? Because Simon likes a movie character called Wonder Man.
Yes.
But in the comics, is Simon actually Wonder Man?
Yeah. So in the comics, so yes, Simon is Wonder Man, but he looks like the guy in that Wonder Man movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And anyway, so he grows up, Simon, and he's this struggling actor. And he seems to be talented, but he's just got a lot of neuroses and things that get in his way. And anyway, then he encounters this show is so good, guys. Like, I'm serious. Like, just I think it makes me want to watch it again just thinking about it. But anyway, he encounters Trevor, Ben Kingsley's character, and they're both struggling actors because, I mean, based on what's happened to Trevor in these movies, I mean, at one point he was pretending to be a terrorist. Right. And so the world remembers him that way. Like, there's scenes where he'll show up at a house party or something and people will be like, weren't you like a terrorist once? You know, I love that. I love that that's a part of the
Never
story.
see me coming.
Yes, he gets to do that again. But anyway, they become kind of buddies, and they're both going to try out for parts in a Wonder Man remake. So this movie means a lot to Simon because it makes him think of his dad, and this job would mean a lot to them and their careers. And so they pair up and try to help one another. And it kind of goes from there. I mean, we can get into spoilers, but that really is the arc of the show. These two guys and their friendship and trying to get the parts in this film.
Yeah. That's what we're most interested in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have sort of a, superhero-y elements in the periphery. But I think where this excels, where something like, we were just talking about WandaVision, I think most people agree WandaVision was like rock solid up until it became CGI gleep glop in the final hour. And it like the air kind of left the balloon.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like we were invested in this human story and then it just kind of became,
Right.
This avoids that. And that was really my concern the further along we got into the season is this just going to become explodey CGI in the final half hour?
Yep.
And I'll say they kept a focus on the human side because that was most interesting. And this is where this gets to what I was saying at the start of this discussion. This is what the TV part of Marvel should be.
Mm-hmm.
Is this type of thing,
right?
Because you can't sell this necessarily in a movie. I don't know how you market it,
right?
But it's exactly the type of thing that the TV format is suited for. Lower budget. You get great actors. You give them interesting stuff to do. What
I also liked, and I don't really think this is a spoiler to say this, but Joe Pantoliano shows up, Joey Pants. And, it's kind of that thing you've seen before where, Ben Kingsley's character worked, being an actor, worked with Joey Pants at some point in the past, and they had a falling out. So there's a point where they have to, be in the same room together again. And it's kind of funny because we know, Joe Pantoliano is playing himself and having this little, sketchy history with Trevor. There's like the broad version of that, where it gets kind of silly and then they start throwing food at each other or coming up with these really quippy, insults that they lob at one another. But this show doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Like it keeps everything kind of grounded. And it becomes very passive aggressive, Joey Pants and everything. But I actually made a note about that. I was like, I can't believe they're not turning this into something bigger. And I love it for that. This makes it feel more real and hurts more,
Yeah.
in the best way, that it makes me more invested in these people because I don't feel like I'm watching people trying to have the funniest line and outquip one another.
That is such a great observation. Related to that, I texted you about this. Episode 4 of the season is called Doorman.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that it's almost like it's like this detour inside of this series, right? But it's not a detour like oh, here's the Boba Fett series and we're just going to do an episode about the Mandalorian.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's very relevant, and yet it doesn't really involve our main characters until the very end. And it's like this little, like I don't even know what to call it, right? It's not really like a Twilight Zone thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly like a little short film.
Yeah.
It stands kind of on its own, but it is relevant.
Yeah. It's like a little vignette,
I'd almost say, I don't know if we're there quite yet, but in the modern streaming TV show age, I mean, this happens. Even like Only Murders in the Building, I remember would do this. There'd be one episode where they would focus on a side character, the whole episode.
Sure.
So it's almost become, this sounds so like a negative word, but like a trope or something. But like when that episode started, I realized what they're going to do. I was like, oh, this is going to be that episode where we just do the whole episode about someone else.
Doesn't The Bear do that?
Yes, exactly.
Or it's like that at that Atlanta about the Goofy movie.
That's right. Exactly.
It was kind of like that.
And even though that's a thing that a lot of shows do, those do tend to be some of the best episodes.
Yeah.
And I would say that was the case with this, because what I love is, and we should do a spoiler section because I just want to gush about specific moments. But what I love is there's a tossed away line in the first episode about, a waiver that Simon has to sign that's called like the doorman, whatever contingent or something, and I was like, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then they just don't talk about it. And I was like, okay, I guess I should know what that is, but I don't. And then 4 explains what that is in its own little short film.
Yeah.
And what a ride.
What a ride. And without spoiling anything, I will just say, Josh Gad, rest in power, brother.
Dude, I wrote down, this is probably my favorite thing I've ever seen Josh Gad in. We'll have to get into spoilers, but he has this line that killed me. I almost feel bad now that I'm like, I don't want to build this up too much. I do want to strongly suggest people check this out.
Yeah.
And then, over the spoiler wall, join us. So we can all...
I'll just say this. I think there's a lot of folks that are rightly feeling a lot of MCU burnout.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Wonder Man is the thing that highlights what makes the MCU special, is because you can do something like this and have it fit seamlessly into the flow of this entire universe.
I feel like we've heard about this promise so much. I mean, they talk about it with Marvel, they talk about it with Star Wars. It's like, well, if you're going to make all these things, you're going to have all these series, why not do the romantic comedy in Marvel? Why not do the horror movie in Star Wars? Why not do the whatever? And this is that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is the buddy comedy in the Marvel. Anyway.
And it is a shame because it does feel like it's just kind of, Marvel just kind of tossed it out. I mean, I read an article earlier today that said this was almost Marvel's Batgirl.
Yes.
Where they had started shooting it and then it got interrupted by the double strikes.
Mm-hmm.
And they considered just scrapping it.
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, what a shame that would have been,
Isn't that crazy? And this thing was in the can, I think, in 2024. And now it's just getting kind of unceremoniously dumped in January in 2026.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like I said at the beginning, I'm happy that I watched it. This is one of my favorite things I've watched in a while.
Wow.
And I'm really glad that we're able to put a little spotlight on it, because I think people are going to enjoy this.
Well, you want to talk spoilers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so dude, we're in spoilers. I'm telling you, check this out. You'll enjoy it. Don't listen to what we're about to say. But dude, in that doorman episode,
Dude.
when the fire's happening and he's at the door, and Josh Gad is like, he wants us to go through him. Everyone, go through me. Dude, it was, you know what was amazing about it? It was hilarious and kind of dramatically satisfying.
Yeah.
Like, it was everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's I see. I was immediately thinking about how like Josh Gad exists in this universe.
Yes.
But I'm like, there are actors in Josh Gad movies who have played characters in the MCU.
Right.
And then my brain starts going topsy turvy, you know.
Right.
But that the character, the doorman, and he's actually a doorman. But his power is to be a doorman.
Right.
So that's a real character. I actually forgot about that.
Wow.
Yeah, DeMar Davis he's from kind of a comical group called the Great Lakes Avengers, which I know about him from a while ago, but I didn't make that connection that it's actually him.
Wait, so there's the Avengers, there's the West Coast Avengers, and then there's the Great Lakes Avengers?
So the Great Lakes Avengers are basically hey guys, can we be part of your club? We're the Great Lakes Avengers. And it's like, okay.
When they bump into people?
Basically, they're like the wannabes, you know.
Okay.
But I thought that, and I should say that the actor is Byron Bowers, who plays him.
Mm-hmm.
But he did a great job. Like, it's just this interesting little, again, what I was saying, right? It's not about superheroes. It's about superpowered people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Doorman.
Yep.
And yeah, of course, in a Marvel world, you'd have superpowered spokespeople and people would get sick of them. And just this whole emotional journey he goes on is a little bit like Bart as the I Didn't Do It kid.
You just literally, I was like waiting for the moment to say that. Yes. And that's just a component of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
There's just so much, like, his story was so interesting, you know, like, where he's just this content person working at this club. He doesn't need anything more. He's happy. You know, and then this thing happens to him, and Josh Gad is like, hey, come join me and work for me. And then he ends up becoming a movie star in his own right. And then, he has his catchphrase and goes on the talk shows, but there's more I want to talk about. I don't want to just be ding dong, you know, like
ding dong.
And then when
there's this sad thing where he's like looking at the internet comments about him.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's just dunking on, and then one person says something nice and he kind of smiles, you know?
Yes. I mean, this whole thing, that's just this whole show. I mean, I kept saying comedy, but it isn't. It's a dramedy, I would say.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I think why I loved it so much is I haven't felt this much. You know, I felt joy, and I felt giddiness, and I felt sadness, and I felt hope. You know, it was such a surprise. But anyway, this Doorman episode, and then when it culminates when he's working on that show and Gad's going through him as they're making the movie, and then he pukes, and I was like, what is happening? And then Gad doesn't come out the other side. It was amazing.
That was so funny.
And then the guy's like, because Josh Gad wants to go by J Gad or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then that AD or someone's like, yo, where's J Gad? And I was also like, yeah, where is he?
So in the MCU, we don't know.
Yeah.
No Frozen 3 in the MCU.
But what an amazing, right. Oh, and he had the funniest line, Josh Gad, where he was like talking about Imagine Dragons and the song Radioactive.
Mm-hmm.
And The line I can imagine in another show is, oh yeah, Radioactive. That's the most important song of the last 30 years, which you could kind of chuckle at because that's probably not the case. But I love his line as he goes, oh yeah, Radioactive is the most important song of the last 3 years. I was like, that's good. That's a good joke. But what I love is it's a really, really compelling, standalone story, but it also really sets the stakes for why Simon wouldn't want anyone to know that he has these abilities. And it's not because he needs to stop some big mega villain that's going to show up at some point. It's because he wants to hold a job.
Exactly. Right. That's why it didn't feel like a waste of an episode,
Mm-hmm.
It didn't throw us off the momentum, because we followed that one up with where Simon beats these guys up, and then this teenager who has a GoPro, he's trying to track him down, and we end up on this little caper where that kid's like, okay, you want this footage that I have of you? I need you to go, confront this guy who ripped me off.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wind up, and I mean, it's so like Breaking Bad-esque almost,
Right.
They're like Walt and Jesse, Trevor and Simon,
You know what I loved about that moment was when they were chasing the guy down Hollywood Boulevard, and they're like, "Oh, are we getting in like a high-speed chase?" And of course not. This is Los Angeles, so they're like stuck in traffic.
It's so funny.
And then there's all this tension, like we got to find the guy. Oh, we lost him. Where is he? And then while this is happening, Trevor's looking at their sides for the Wonder Man movie, and he's like, "Oh, Barnaby betrays Wonder Man." And Simon's like, "What?" And he pulls over because that means, you know what I mean? He's like, "Wait, well, hold on, read it to me." It stops the chase because that affects him so much. I love that.
Oh man, yeah, that was a great episode.
Yeah,
the whole no, we're not making drugs, we're making candy.
Yes, and Trevor's like all about it. Like, this is delicious.
But that's the thing. I remember. So we're in spoilers now. So the very first episode, we have Trevor and Simon. They meet. They have their little meet cute.
Yes,
and they form a little bond. And we're like, hey, that's great. And then Trevor's phone rings, and he hears, "Have you made contact?"
Oh, my heart broke, Zachy. Really, I was like, I don't want this. Oh, is this what this show is? This is gonna hurt too much.
But I had a similar moment, but I was like, you know what? This is episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
I know what the show's going to be doing. It's going to be taking me on a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And goddamned if it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, you really like that's the extraordinary thing. I mean, you considering where that character started, you really go to a lot of emotional places thanks to everything Kingsley gives him,
He has so much to do. I wonder I'm sure he enjoyed doing the other things, but I wonder if he was like, this is where I really get to flex. I get to do.
Yeah.
He's very comedic in this. Well, he's been in the others, but he gets a lot of opportunity in this. Yeah.
Like to me, I mean, the comedic stuff is great, but I mean, I think that there are moments where you just see, you see the pathos in his eyes, and you see like, here's a guy who has lived a life and had experienced a lot of success, and that success is now in the past, and he's just trying to recapture it,
Yeah, he's genuinely passionate about this. I mean, that's the thing is their friendship. We know that Trevor is forced to make contact with Simon under duress, right? But it's so palpable, the genuine friendship that they begin to have.
Yeah.
And then you can see the conflict then, because he really does care for this guy and he really is rooting for Simon.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that worked for me. And there was a part of me that did wonder, I mean, this is a very Hollywood story.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, for us, and speaking for myself, there's a scene where Simon's hurrying through traffic and he's literally driving down the street I'm 1 block away from. And he was like 10 minutes from my house. And so I was like, oh, I know that. I think I bought a pillow from that place. Like it felt, and also working in the industry for the past 20 some years, I definitely connected with the show in that way, in the way that, I'm not an actor, but just different jobs, I could relate to that stress and the hope and the fact that this is chasing a dream, which is cool and maybe silly and sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't work at all. And so I wonder if everyone will connect to that. I think so, because I think the characters are so strong, and maybe although it's specific, they can still just relate to the passion. But
I agree with that.
Yeah.
What you just said. I think in that specificity you can, and we all have that, right? Like that you have that dream, and at some point you have to make a decision whether you're going to go all the way in on this, or whether it's time to put it away, put it in a box.
Well, yeah, and then there's that episode Pacoima, which I remember it because I'm like, I know where that is. And he's at that birthday party, and he has to deal with his brother.
That's right.
And his brother thinks that Simon is being silly, and his mom still supports him, and it's like, at what point are you going to be a responsible adult and stop indulging in this dream of yours? And again, I like what I was saying with the Joey Pants thing. You can imagine the bigger version of it, like the more Biff kind of older brother.
Right. Yeah.
But this is very like almost uncomfortably realistic, where it's like, oh, this guy is kind of disappointed in him, and this is like hard to watch. And for Trevor's kind of stuck in the middle of having to watch this family drama a little bit.
Yeah.
But that just makes you feel it more deeply because it feels more realistic.
You know what's interesting is in the comics, Eric Williams, Simon's brother, is a supervillain called the Grim Reaper. And so I'm watching this and I'm like, Eric Williams, is this like, because the movie sets them up as having this tension, and I'm like, are they doing that, And here's me watching this show where I'm just so engrossed in all the family stuff, and I'm like, man, please don't do that, right? I'm like, don't give him a costume. Don't do any of that. Right. Which, I mean, I'm a comic book fan, right? So ostensibly that should be what I want. Right. But I'm like, no, that's not this. Don't turn this into that, And it was extremely gratifying to get to the end, and you see these two brothers find their simpatico.
Oh, dude, it warmed my heart. I mean, when they were watching the movie and the brother was actually kind of like crying a little bit. Oh, so good.
that's the thing, right? Like it's kind of like they have the flexibility to like how much they want to lean into the comic book stuff. And I think for this particular project, they picked the right amount.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I want everything to be like this, but I'm glad that this can exist,
Exactly. When we were talking about earlier where this is the perfect thing for them to do, I think this is a perfect thing for them to do. By all means, make something else that is filled with tons of action and whatever, but like I like that this can also be something that they can do.
In the I believe it was the 6th episode where Simon and Trevor are called to the director's house to do auditions.
Yeah, that was stressful.
It was stressful before Simon punched through a dude's face.
Dude, I texted you the second after that happened, because when it happened, I went, what? And that we've seen that before, right? I'm trying to think what's like a famous example of that in another movie where we see, like True Lies, right? Where Schwarzenegger is getting mad at
Bill Paxton.
Yeah, and then he punches his lights out, and then when we make a hard cut to see that didn't actually happen. That was what was happening in Schwarzenegger's mind.
Yeah,
they do that here, but I fell for it completely.
Oh, absolutely,
dude! I was like shocked. Because I think because the show wasn't like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was very shocking.
I mean, you're not supposed to laugh, and I mean, it wasn't like, haha, that's hilarious, but like laugh of horror kind of.
Exactly.
I was laughing in horror when Simon started doing the scene from Pretty Woman.
Oh, dude! At first, I was like, "Oh, well, good, he's doing really well," and then I was like, "Oh, wait, I know this."
Yeah, I had that exact journey. I was like, "Wait, I know what this is."
Yeah, I was like, "Oh no!" But you know what? That's how rich the writing was too, because that was established. Like he is an encyclopedia for this stuff. I mean, that's been his life. He hasn't had a lot of friends, and he knows movies and can quote them in and out. So that felt very in character. I was like, that's been established. That is maybe a little crutch that he might try to pull out in that moment. And it made me think like, man, this show is really well written.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the person who co-created the show with him is, oh, forgive me. I missed the guy's name.
Andrew Guest.
Andrew Guest. So he was one of the folks behind Community.
Okay.
So suddenly you see the ingredients at play here, because you get the heart of Destin Daniel Cretton, you get the comedy of Andrew Guest,
and character,
and right. I mean, it's really right, because when you look at Community, that's very much about these lost souls finding each other.
Yep.
Right. They're all kind of broken toys, but together they make one hell of a Voltron. You know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we have here. So I mean, it's really like, last year was Ironheart, which was a Ryan Coogler production, right? And that was a series that I enjoyed, you know, and that's another one just kind of like escaped.
It did, yeah.
You know, and nobody really talked about it, but I remember thinking that if this is a way for Marvel to keep the TV side fed, I think that's a good place to be. And I feel like this is very much that. Like, you got Ryan Coogler and Destin Cretton doing some of the A-list characters, but they have an opportunity to stretch a little bit and do something a little different with the lower stakes of TV. You know?
Yep.
And just to be clear, I think Wonder Man, I think it is overall a better overall production than Ironheart, but I did enjoy Ironheart.
Okay.
But yeah, anything else that jumped out at you? Oh, you know what? Real quick, sorry, I wanted to mention they made Midnight Cowboy kind of a runner throughout the whole series, and the way the very end of the series tied in with Midnight Cowboy, to quote Brian Hall, chef's kiss.
Yep.
Absolutely perfect. No notes.
I mean, it's something that will make you chuckle because it's amusing and warms your heart, and it's a perfect callback, and you're just so damn satisfied.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we may as well mention kind of the quote unquote third act of the story.
Yeah.
Which is, they do get the parts, Trevor and Simon, and they're going to be in the Wonder Man movie. You know, I was getting stressed out that episode with the New York Times.
Oh my God.
Reporter. I looked her up. I was like, who is this? She's really good.
Yeah.
She played that. It ends up she's a comedic actress, but she did a really good job of being this sort of scary, serious person who you would feel like is possibly out to get you.
We don't want her ruining them like she ruined Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yes, that's right. But yeah, but anyway, when the marvelness of it kind of catches up with it, but I don't mean that in a negative way, but just there has to be something running in the background like a threat, and that's basically that Trevor, he's been put up by, what do they call it? The Department of
Damage Control.
Yeah, they are basically threatening to put Trevor back in jail.
And we should say the guy Trevor's contact is the same guy who was in Spider-Man No Way Home, the damage control guy. So we do have like, as far as interconnectivity, that's one piece of it.
Man, I would love to get employed by Marvel, and just like every like 3 years, like, hey, we need you back. Like, oh, do you? You know, like you just get to keep popping up in things, and it'd be amazing gig. But yeah, so now it's basically Trevor has to decide, if I don't kind of sell out my friend, I might go to prison. Right. And so at some point, this is always the part, I talk about this. I hate this in movies where it's like I think of Donnie Brasco. I think that was one of the first experiences where I had my heart broken, where it's like someone was lying, sort of like The Departed, like you're undercover and you earn the trust of someone, but then at some point you have to betray them, and it's so hard to watch that scene.
It's like Freddie Prinze Jr. and She's All That.
Exactly. That's a better example. That was a bet. But so at some point, they have to confront that, and Simon feels betrayed. He's like, I thought you were my friend, thought you were my only friend.
Ugh.
And my heart. There's that scene at the birthday party too. I think the mom says something to Trevor where she's like, I'm so glad that he brought a friend.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my heart. And so then Simon, because of his whatever his powers are or his ability, like high emotions make him literally explode.
Yeah.
And and I was like, oh no. I was so nervous. I was like, he's gonna go into one of those sets, he's gonna blow up the Wonder Man set. And that's what happens. And it was hard to watch because you're like, there's no hiding that. There's no coming back from this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then the good friend that Trevor is, he decides to become the Mandarin. I'm doing the quotes thing again and be like, I did this, and takes the blame and is willing to go to prison for this guy. And it was just so satisfying. Just hard to watch. And I was like, no, I don't want any of this to happen. But it all felt earned to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And to that end, I think the ending felt earned.
You know what I really liked about the ending? It actually reminded me of what we talk about with Vince Gilligan, where something is happening and we're watching a process that is very detailed and specific, but we don't quite understand what our character is doing. So Simon basically goes and talks to this person who we've never seen before. And he's like, I want to do research for this role, which means I would kind of follow you around and I'll eat dinner with your family and I'll go to where you work. And we spend a really long time not knowing who this person is or what the job is. We see them jogging together,
right?
Like a lot. And I'm like, what? I don't know where this is going, but it is interesting,
right?
And then we learn that guy works as a security guard at the prison where Trevor is being held. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. He's going to get his friend out.
Yep. But what I loved above and beyond that is just before the breakout, we see that guy get a phone call from his wife.
Yep.
And she says, we have so much money that's just been deposited in our account, I don't know from where, that you never have to work again.
Perfect.
Right?
Perfect. So we don't, because there was a part of me that was like, I do feel bad. He's using this nice guy.
Yep.
And someone's going to have to answer for this. But that was the perfect, and maybe it's easy, but I don't care. It's perfect. It's all I needed. That guy's life is better. These friends are back together where they belong. And playing the song from Midnight Cowboy.
Yep. I also love that Trevor's like, oh, and who ended up playing Barnaby? And he's like, never mind.
That's right. Because of Joey Pants. Yeah. Oh man, that was so good. This show, it's funny because I know we're gushing about it now behind the spoiler thing, and I hope people have checked it out before they're listening to all this. Yeah. But man, this is one of my favorite things, movie, TV, whatever, that I've seen in a while.
Yeah, but just such a pleasant surprise,
Yeah, I really, really hope people find this thing. Word of mouth gets it out there, and I don't know, it gets the recognition it deserves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? I'm sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot. I mean,
no.
Other moments that stood out for you, or things that you really responded to or loved?
I think we covered most of them. I think you touched on it, but I really love. There's a scene after Simon's dad. It's a flashback when Simon's dad takes him to the movie, and now his dad is just like, Simon's a little kid, but his dad's like, you're going to be an actor. You're amazing. He's like, I'm not just saying that because like I'm your dad. I'm so proud of you. He's like, you're great, And you realize like that's why he's doing this.
Yep.
Right. He doesn't have his dad anymore, but this is a way of staying connected to his dad.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's good stuff, man.
Yeah. I'm really glad. I was going to watch it anyway because you had recommended it. I had started it before we even decided.
I told you, Brian. I said you're going to like it.
Yes, and that's why I did it. That's why I started it, and I watched it more quickly,
Yeah.
so we could do this. And I'm so glad I did. Really enjoy this. Highly recommend.
Yeah, I've been telling folks all week, like I've been, because a lot of, when I talk to my kids, like my in my classes, right? There's like definite, like, yeah, I used to be into Marvel, not really anymore. There's a lot of that.
Mm.
And I'm telling people, I'm like, check this one out. This might kind of light a flint for you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But hey, let us know your thoughts on Marvel's Wonder Man.
Mm-hmm.
Or anything else we talked about this episode. You can email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and message us there. As always, please go to Apple Podcasts and leave a review, leave a star rating. Every little bit helps. Also, if you're listening to this show on YouTube, please hit subscribe, hit like, and leave comments there, because as you heard in this episode, we read those comments on mic. We also have a Patreon page, Brian.
That's right. If you head over to patreon.com/moviefilmpodcast and hit subscribe for only $5 a month, you'll find every commentary we've ever done and every episode moving forward absolutely ad-free. And in addition to that, beginning this year, we are now going to have bonus conversations over there about twice a month, so you can enjoy those as well. Our free feed will always be available, but this is our way of providing what we believe is the most satisfying way to enjoy the show. So no random ads and interruptions butting into the conversation. Plus, your subscription goes a long way in helping to support us and helping to sustain producing the show. So if you're interested and able, please head over to patreon.com/moviefilmpodcast and subscribe. We'd be very grateful.
Yes, we would. And if you're looking for me online, you can find me at Zacky's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. You can also find my reviews and writing at the San Francisco Chronicle and also at IGN and The Wrap. What about you, Brian?
You can find episodes I've written of Puppy Dog Pals and Young Jedi Adventures, which I was talking about earlier, streaming over on Disney+.
There we go. And with that, on behalf of my partner, Brian Hall, my name is Zachy Hassan. This has been Movie Film 335. We'll catch you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.